the Lexus LM, or many of you in North America would think of it as the Lexus minivan. Not sure how many of you would enjoy driving a Lexus minivan, but in the Lexus global portfolio, they launched the first generation Lexus LM in 2019 as a 2020 model, and it's actually based off the Toyota Alphard. One reason why we have this video is because the second generation LM has been announced, and we will compare between the two generations and see if we should ask Lexus for this minivan in North America. Hey, it's LSFT here today, and today we're here to look at the first and second generation LM. Many of you may not know what LM is, since you're not in the market where Lexus offered the LM. So first thing is LM. We all know L means luxury for Lexus, and all the top of the line models that start with L, like the LS, the LC, LX, LFA, and the LM. And you'll think, what does LM stand for? So LM stands for luxury mover, not luxury minivan. It's categorized as an MPV, which is a multi-purpose vehicle. The LM was shown to the world on April 16th, 2019 at the 18th Shanghai International Automobile Industry Exhibition and launched in China on February 20th, 2020. And after 4 years, April 18th, 2023, in the same auto show, they launched the second generation LM. So talking about the first generation LM, offered in two engine types, the LM350 and the LM300H. I was quite surprised that the LM came as a 350 300H, which is exactly the same configuration as the ES. I would have thought that they would have released the LM500 or the 500H, as it's an L, right? It's not an EM. But anyways, that is what Lexus released in China and selected Asian markets. So I am aware that the LM is available in Hong Kong, Malaysia, Vietnam, Philippines, and probably some other countries as the LM350. And they do not really have the hybrid model available. In mainland China, Taiwan, Thailand, and other countries, they have the LM300H. There doesn't seem to be one market that offers both the gasoline and the hybrid-only versions. The LM350 uses a 3.5-liter V6 rated at 297 horsepower and 267 pound-feet of torque. Some markets they actually have a 6-speed automatic, and in other markets I've seen 8-speed. The overall rating consumption is also different based on different ways of measuring consumption, but as a point of reference, Hong Kong uses 10.6 liters per 100 kilometers. On the other hand, the LM300H, the hybrid version, actually uses a very similar system like the ES. It has a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder gas engine with 2 electric motors offering 197 horsepower and 152 pound-feet of torque, and it's with an eCVT. The fuel consumption numbers varies by country again. Thailand actually has it at 6.4 liters per 100, whereas China has 8 liters per 100, and Taiwan having 7.3 liters per 100 kilometers. So the pricing of the LM is actually quite high, and you'll be totally surprised. So keep in mind that the LM is at the L grade, but then they offer a 300 and 350. And when you look at all those vehicles in North America, the pricing is actually quite reasonable. So let's look at it. The LM300H in China. The 7-seater is 1.166 million Chinese yuan, which is about $170,000 US. The 4-seater, which is more premium, is 1.466 million Chinese yuan, which is about $213,000 US dollars. So that totally tops the LS, the LX in the United States. Nowhere close, right? So when you compare that, in the China market for the LS500H ranges between 878,000 Chinese yuan to 1.18 million Chinese yuan, and that is 128,000 US dollars to 172,000 US dollars. So you can see that the LM is actually more expensive than the LS. Will you get the LM300H or the LS500H in China? Let's move down south to Hong Kong. They use Hong Kong dollars, and we all know that Hong Kong actually has a very expensive tax when you buy vehicles. So let's look at it. So let's look at the LM350 in Hong Kong. The 7-seater is about $1.5 million Hong Kong dollars, and that is roughly $750,000 for the car and another $750,000 for the first registration tax. So that equates to 1.5 million Hong Kong dollars, and that is 191,000 US dollars. So now we move to the 4-seater. The 4-seater in Hong Kong is about $2 million Hong Kong dollars. And the car itself is really 950,000 Hong Kong dollars, and the registration tax is over $1 million in Hong Kong dollar, which then when you convert all that, the $2 million Hong Kong dollar is actually about $250,000. The LM definitely is an extremely expensive mover. Now that we've gotten the context of the first generation LM, now let's look at the next one, which is the second generation that was just recently announced. Alright, so now we moved over to the world premiere of the all-new Lexus LM, the 2023 or 2024 LM. Let's have a look. So it actually says here that they're introduced in the Shanghai 2023 Auto Show, and the key thing here is that, well, I think the key biggest market is China, which China, Hong Kong is probably one of the biggest markets that they have. And now this second generation, they're launching it over 60 countries worldwide, which includes Japan, which they didn't release a Lexus in Japan, and now Europe as well. North America doesn't like minivans, and I don't know. Would you in the United States actually buy this minivan, a luxury minivan for your family? I think the 4-seater, but definitely not. But I think the 7-seater, maybe it's worth actually to be put into the North American market. Like, if you look at it, the Sienna is quite used often. So we'll have to see what this all shakes up. So let's scroll down. So they're saying here the first generation launched in 2020, offering a 4-seat and a 7-seat. And LM really stands for luxury mover. So we all know about this already. So let's keep on scrolling, quickly going down here and see what it says. So the challenge that they have is, as a development team, they don't know how do they translate the Lexus driving signature to the LM, a vehicle that many customers will enjoy the rear seat and not the front seat. So if you notice a lot of the discussions of the LM, a lot of it is actually discussions about how the rear seat customers feel and not really how the driver feels. So this is a total different mindset of having the LM. Ride comfort is probably one of the big things, right? And they're saying here is in tune with the senses, further evolution of the hallmark Lexus ride comfort and quietness. So, ride comfort. So they're saying here the flagship MPV, and it's saying that they have a large aperture sliding door, and the securing body rigidity with the framework was important. And they're saying that the approach taken with all the new Lexus vehicles is to improve the core strength of the vehicle itself. So this second generation LM has a torsional rigidity of 50% higher than the current model, an achievement made through elements such as adding braces onto the radiator support, the rear underfloor, and the straight rocker structure, and the quarter pillar reinforcement. Structural adhesive used in the topper body and the floor also helps reduce vibration. So again, with a vehicle that focuses on rear comfort, I think seats are also very important. If you look at even my NX, the front seats, the Escort seats are very well boosted, but then the rear seats are not as well done, I would say. But now this car is totally different. The rear seats need to be perfect because at this price point, the people who sit in the back are the one who's paying the bills, not the driver. So when you look at this, for seat development, they actually analyze the movement of the body and they want to make sure at a natural, relaxed state for the body and the mind, no matter where you're sitting. So special attention has been made to reducing the head movement and the stabilization of the line of sight. The front seats are optimized surface pressure distribution on the seat cushion to hold the body regardless of what kind of G-force you're turning into. I don't think people are going to make an extreme right turn or left turn on these LMs, but again, I think Lexus driving signature is important here, right? The goal is to achieve seating comfort, which reduces fatigue and the environment that allows the driver to have a dialogue within the car. And for the second and row seats, there are two types of shock absorbing materials with different characteristics were used to gently envelope and support the passenger from the vehicle standstill and when the vehicle is actually in motion. And the third row seats, they have a thicker back seats and cushion, allowing the elbows to sit comfortably. So overall, this is really talking about the three-row LM and not the four-seater one. So then, for the first time, they have this adaptive variable suspension with frequency sensitive piston valves. So this is actually using the AVS, the adaptive variable suspension, and then they adding frequency sensitive piston valves in the shock absorber so that it can provide an excellent ride regardless of what speed and what kind of thing you're doing, and it also reduces vibrations over a wide range of frequencies. I believe this seat would be quite comfortable at a next level, even further than the LS. And for the first time in a Lexus vehicle, they have rear comfort drive mode. So we all know that there's eco, normal, sport, and F Sport you have the Sport S Plus, and some cars there is comfort and custom. And now we have a new one called rear comfort. That's quite interesting. But again, the focus is on rear comfort in this LM. So what this rear comfort does, it actually adds some probably formula to the AVS so that it will prioritize the rear comfort over like it will actually control the gas pedals, the brake, and all that to ensure when you're accelerating and decelerating, that cabin in there is spot on. Now we move on to what they say about quietness. Let's see what it says here. So for the new LM, special attention was paid to creating a natural and comfort sense of quietness. Noise frequency, bandwidths, and noise sources were analyzed, resulting in a three-step approach to reduce noise. So they reduce the generation of noise, they reduce noise that's coming into the cabin, so sound insulation, and also reducing noise inside the vehicle, which is sound absorption. So source noise forced mainly on the road noise and wind noise. And additionally, specific countermeasures for road noise around the tires and the wind noise around the hoods and pillars, acoustic glass was used to help reduce high frequency wind noise. The engine, one of the primary source of noise and vibration, and the related mounts which amplifies the vibration, received through tuning. Also, cabin noise was also greatly reduced by carefully placing calculated amounts of thickness of sound absorbing and sound insulation when and vibration dampening materials appropriate throughout the vehicle. So one thing that I did watch on reviews many years ago when the first LM came out was that the noise from the back seat. So if you are talking about business, billions of dollars of business, and your chauffeur's driving the front, they can actually hear what's happening in the back. So I don't know if this version will actually change, but let's see when people actually get to drive it and see if that actually has improved. So we all know from the video and the pictures, you can see that the spindle body. So a lot of this is, from a design perspective, it's taken from the RX and the RZ, the new spindle body. And this is now the third part of the spindle body. They introduced the spindle body in the RX and then they moved on to the RZ. Now the LM is the third vehicle actually getting the spindle body treatment. So what do you think about it? I don't know. To me, I think I have to see in person to appreciate what it looks like. When I actually seen the RZ and the RX, actually I think it's fine. But in the picture, even the original LM, the big spindle grill was a bit big, and in certain views it looked odd. And now looking at this one, the first reaction was, okay, I know it's a spindle body. I just don't know if it's good or it needs time to get used to. We will see how that goes. So they're saying that the spacious interior combining comfort and convenience. The front row just looks like just another RX or NX, which they have actually incorporated the Tazuna cockpit. So that doesn't really change much. And then when you see here, it says the 6 and 7-seater versions focus on spacious feel and excellent visibility with the expansive trim overhead console throughout the cabin to create a personal feel for all passengers. So it's interesting. In the first LM, they had a sunroof that goes vertically. And now this one is actually two horizontal moonroofs with the center console trim right on the top of the ceiling. So it's a little bit different. The 4-seat model raises the level of personalization and privacy, featuring a partition equipped with a 48-inch. Yeah, I can't imagine they have a 48-inch wide screen display in the front of the rear seats, and a retractable glass partition above this with displays separate compartments, and that is actually very similar to the original LM. They have this glass that can go up and down, and you can actually talk to your driver if you need to. And then they have speakers, a refrigerator, storage compartment. So that's very similar to what they had in the original LM, and they just brought it in. So they have two colors in the interior. It says there's the white with copper accents and black with gray tones. All right. So now when you look at it, they do have a total of 64 illumination colors are available, including 14 theme colors and 50 custom colors on the lighting within the cabin itself. So they also have the rear climate concierge, a Lexus first that provides integrated control elements such as air conditioning, seat positioning, sunshades, and lighting, which helps optimal the cabin's environment for the passengers. There's 4 presets that they can use. They didn't say what the presets are, but try and see if we can find more information there. And then they do say that there are multi-operational panels that is detachable touchscreen controller. It looks like an iPhone that they've just plugged in. I guess it's a streamed down version of an iPhone, it feels like. And they use it to control various rear seat functions, including that concierge feature. But also they can control seats, audio, and lighting independently. And there are 2 controllers that are located in the console armrests for the second row seats and allow the left and right passengers to set them individually. So there they do talk about the Lexus Safety System Plus, and it doesn't say what version, but I'm assuming this will be 3.0, which means the same as the NX RX RZ, and they're saying that they will be offering proactive driving assist as well. And they have this pre-collision safety PCS, which has the warning, the braking assist, and the pre-collision braking. They have the dynamic radar cruise control. They have the lane departure alert. They have an abnormal driver response system. So if you have a driver and you're in the back enjoying your whatever, your drink or whatever, you're doing some work or in a meeting, and the driver suddenly just aren't able to drive for whatever reason. So it actually detects that, okay, you're having significant issues during the lane trace assist control. So they're seeing that you're going off the lane a lot and seeing that the driver has difficulty controlling the car. So what it will do is it will automatically turn on the flashers, and then it'll tell people behind you that I'm stopping, and the vehicle will gradually decelerate. In addition, the door locks will unlock after the vehicle is stopped, and a life-saving request is made in the help net connection, so making an SOS call and telling them that there's something wrong. And now we have the next is the proactive driving assist. So it will support the driver if for whatever reason they get too close to pedestrians, bicyclists, or parked vehicles. It will nudge you and move you away from it and or stop and do whatever it needs to do to proactively help you drive so that you don't hit your car. And teammate, it has advanced drive with traffic jam support and also advanced park with remote functions. So that's the teammate functions that they've adding. And also this one, it says new experimental value through advanced technology. So they have this e-latch system. So they've also included the same e-latch system in the NX, RX, and all that. And it says that they've incorporated an easy closer for all the front doors, and this is another Lexus first. And I really hope that they have this in my NX because the doors are a lot harder to close. So it seems like when you slam the door and it doesn't close all the way, it would automatically close it for you. Quiet and smooth operations with enhanced usability support door closing from a partially open state. So both the front end sliding doors are equipped with safe exit assist with door open control, which detects vehicles bicyclists approaching from behind, providing a warning and prevents the door from opening. So same function as all the safe exit assist features. And there we have it, all the specs. So I'll move on to my spreadsheet and just talk a little bit more of what I've found in in all the specs and do a comparison with the first generation. With very limited information, this is what I've gathered. And for the first generation LM, it's a little bit hard to get all the information, but I pulled Taiwan, who actually has the LM300H, and Hong Kong, who has the LM350. And then in this side, we have the second generation. So looking at the overall length, it has actually increased a little bit. And in the width, it's gone up about 40 millimeters. And the funny thing is, China, Taiwan, Hong Kong, other places have a different height. And I don't know which one to believe in, but in the press release, they did say that it's increase of 10 millimeters. So I think the one in Taiwan is the right number. It's 1945 in the first gen, and now it's 1955 on the second generation. And the wheelbase has not changed. It's still 3,000 millimeters. And then you can see here we have in the powertrain a 300H, which is similar to the ES300. It uses a 2.5 liter inline 4 VVTi engine versus the LM350, which is similar to the previous generation RX 350, which uses that buttery smooth 3.5 liter V6. And when you look at new the new generation, the 2.5 liter 4-cylinder hybrid, which is similar to the RX 350, the NX 350, even my NX 450H Plus uses the same 2.5 liter hybrid engine. So that's what they're using in the LM. So I don't know. I always feel that the L class should have a different engine itself and not a shared engine. If you look at the LS, LC has a separate engine. It's not the same one. They're not going to have the LS350 and actually just use the same 2.5 liter 4-cylinder engine, right? That just seems a little bit odd. And then they're going to introduce the LM500H, which is the same as the RX 500H, which feels a little bit better for an LM having a 500H. You know, I previously said I don't know why the first generation didn't have a 500, but now we see the LM500H, which is the 2.4 liter turbo hybrid system with direct 4. And let's move on to the tire size. So they have a 17-inch and I've also noticed that the tires in Taiwan are actually wider than the one in China. And in Hong Kong, they're also using 235s in Hong Kong. But in the press release, they've only provided 225s, 65 and 17, and 225, 55, and 19s. So I think those are China specs. So other places in the world, we will have to see if Europe will be getting the 225s or 235s. It seems like they can interchange them for some reason. So we have seatings for 4 or 7 in the first generation, and then on the second generation, they said there's 4 seaters and the 7 seater, and then they said 6 in one of the articles. So I don't know what that 6 means, but I did look at the back seat, and the seventh seat is actually a little bit too hard to sit in. Then we look at the suspension, and you can know that now they have the adaptive variable suspension with frequency sensing piston valves. Not a lot of information in this area yet, but when we know more, probably it's time to look at that. And you can see in the horsepower section, the numbers have increased significantly. 350h, 246 horsepower versus 197. And the 500h, those are asterisks because those are numbers from RX, but I believe they're quite similar because when you look at the 350h, it's very similar to the NX and the RX numbers. So I'm thinking that the RX 500h numbers will be very close to the LM 500h as well. So 366 and 400 pound-feet, which is a big improvement compared to the LM 350. And then when you look at the sound system, Mark Levinson 23 speaker for the 4-seater and 21 speaker for the 7-seater versus the first generation 17 and 19. One of the big differences I've seen is that they call it widescreen monitor. 48 inches. That's almost like some people's TVs in their living room. So 48-inch HD widescreen monitor was on that panel when you have that 4-seater versus the 26-inch a few years ago. You can also see that on the 7-seater, there's a 14-inch, which is almost the size of the Lexus interface on the NX, and compared to last generation, which is 13.3. So that's not that big of a difference. Now we move on to the safety systems, and you can see the list has increased. Like we do have the pre-collision system with steering assist, all the Lexus safety system 3.0 stuff, and also they have the proactive driving assistance. There's a driver monitor that we talked about. There's lane change assist. There is the safe exit assist. There's the abnormal driver response system. And there's also advanced park with traffic jam and all that, where that was never available on the first generation. So you can see that there's a big improvement. And one thing that you probably would ask is pricing. Sorry, we don't know what pricing is, and as standard Lexus terminology, you will know closer when it gets onto the market, right? So one thing that I've seen, and that is really related to what markets will get what, because in the first generation, as you know, Hong Kong only got the LM350, but Taiwan only got the LM300H. So based on the information that I've received, LM350H will be Europe, and Europe will only get the LM350H. They will not get the 500H. China would actually get both, and Australia will actually get the LM500H as a 4-seater only, and I believe they will also get the LM350H. India and other countries, I haven't seen much information yet, but hopefully that information will actually come upon. So time will tell what we'll get, but one important thing is North America is not getting this LM500 or 350H. So I guess if you're looking for a minivan for North America that has luxury on it, that's way more luxury than the Sienna, well, I think it's time to write to Lexus Canada or Lexus USA to actually get that sent up the chain so that there are people interested in this. So leave in the comments below if you're interested in the LM. I know I've already seen some comments on that, people talking about the spindle body grille. Some people saying that it's it's worse than the BMW new grills, but let me know in the comments below. What do you think about this new design and the grille of the LM second generation? Thank you for watching. If you liked this video, please comment, like, and share this video. If you'd like to see more videos like this, you can subscribe to my channel and press that alert button to get notified when new videos are posted. If you'd like to support the channel, you can definitely provide a super thanks. I'll see you guys again next time in the next video.